My parents kicked me out after a tragedy, and I discovered their darkest secrets. The day started as any other, filled with the excitement of dreams finally within reach. Ethan and I, inseparable since childhood, had just been accepted into the same university. Driving down the familiar roads, we laughed and joked, thrilled about the future that awaited us. Then, in an instant, everything changed. The crash was brutal. One moment, I was laughing at Ethan's silly joke. The next, our car was flipped, and the world was chaos. When I regained consciousness, pain overwhelmed me, but my thoughts were on Ethan. He wasn't moving. The paramedics arrived, and I begged them to save him. But my pleas were futile. Ethan was gone, his life snuffed out by the reckless driver who swerved into our lane. My injuries were severe. Multiple surgeries later, I learned the devastating truth. I would never walk again. The loss of my legs felt insurmountable, but nothing compared to the grief of losing Ethan. My parents were by my side, their faces etched with heartbreak, but their support seemed to waver in the months that followed. Recovering from the accident was a grueling process, both physically and emotionally. Simple tasks became monumental challenges. Nights were the hardest. Grief for Ethan and the weight of my circumstances consumed me. My parents did their best to support me, but their exhaustion was palpable. 2 weeks ago, they delivered unexpected news. My older brother, Adam, was coming home for a visit. Adam, who lived abroad and rarely contacted us, was bringing his new partner. My parents were thrilled, their excitement a stark contrast to the heaviness that filled my days. I hoped Adam's visit might bring warmth and healing to our fractured family. Despite our distant relationship, I longed for a connection, a sense of belonging during this tumultuous time. Days before Adam's arrival, my parents sat me down with grave expressions. They told me I needed to move out temporarily. Their words hit like a blow. How could they expect me to leave, especially now, when I was still recovering and had nowhere else to go? Their reasoning was cruel. They needed a break, and Adam's visit was too important to risk being overshadowed by my presence. They offered to pay for a hotel for a few days, expecting me to find a permanent solution on my own. I was devastated. Their betrayal cut deeper than the pain of my injuries. Desperate and out of options, I turned to my estranged grandfather. My father had always forbidden contact with him, claiming he hated us, but I had no choice. When I finally reached him, his reaction was unexpected, shock followed by an outpouring of understanding and support. He invited me to stay with him, assuring me that I would be cared for. As I prepared to leave, my parents barely acknowledged the weight of their decision. My father shed a few tears, but my mother remained stoic. Their indifference solidified the painful truth. I was no longer welcome in their lives. Living with my grandfather, I began to uncover family secrets that had long been buried. Over a quiet dinner, he revealed the truth about my parents' estrangement from his side of the family. My father's affair, my real mother's abandonment, and the lies they told to maintain their image, it all came crashing down. Adam's distant behavior, my parents' strained relationship with me, and their decision to cast me out suddenly made sense. I was the living reminder of their mistakes, a truth they couldn't face. Despite the betrayal, my grandfather's kindness gave me hope. He promised to support me, both emotionally and financially, as I navigated this new chapter of my life. With his help, I began physical therapy again, determined to reclaim some semblance of independence. Living in his spacious home, surrounded by warmth and care, I started to heal, not just physically, but emotionally. For the first time since the accident, I felt like I belonged. Unable to carry the burden of secrets alone, I confronted my parents. Sitting them down, I laid out everything I had learned. My father's shame and anger were evident, while my mother avoided my gaze. Their silence confirmed the truth. I told them I was moving on, leaving their lies and betrayal behind. They could continue their charade with Adam, but I would no longer be a part of it. Unable to carry the burden of secrets alone, I confronted my parents. Sitting them down, I laid out everything I had learned. My father's shame and anger were evident, while my mother avoided my gaze. Their silence confirmed the truth. I told them I was moving on, leaving their lies and betrayal behind. They could continue their charade with Adam, but I would no longer be a part of it.